We are unleashing Cletus. I'm gonna plant some trees and we gotta get it done. Remember that video I said a while back where I wasn't ready to unveil Cletus? Well, today is the day. Welcome, Cletus. Found this in a buddy's backyard. It's rusted all to hell, but it works great for carrying heavy weight. And we're gonna plant some trees today. So I had to carry all of my supplies back here and I want to do it in like one fell swoop. So here we go. All right, so we're gonna plant, on camera, I'm gonna plant my peach tree. And then off camera, I'm gonna, at the same time, plant a plum tree. And I'm super excited to plant these trees. I've been waiting. We had great success with one tree this year, so we're gonna add in some more. And I'm really excited to get some like perennial type food production going on here. I mean, stuff that I don't have to mess with every year excessively. Remember in a previous garden update, I said that there was a pear tree here, which is right there, and it's done. I'm done with it, I'm over it, I'm moving on. And so we dug out the hole yesterday, and I wanna show you something about this that can really be an issue, and it doesn't seem like it would be. So I have really sandy soil, and you can see as I dug down, you can see the chunks of sand in there, and this is all native soil. But you see how the shovel made this right here? This is an issue, so we wanna scour that up, right? So we're just gonna poke some holes, because what that'll do is this will actually stop the roots from penetrating. And you don't want that. You obviously want them to spread out a bit. So we're gonna just kind of scour this up, dig it a little bit, you know, give it some room so that everything can penetrate and grow, because if you don't have healthy roots, you don't have a healthy tree. Now, because my soil is so sandy, I'm going to add a couple ingredients into it as well. And I bet you can guess one, that would be compost. And the other one is simply plain old topsoil. So I did this last year and it worked out pretty good, and planting it in the fall works out for me because the roots will still grow until it gets really cold here. So we got a couple months of root growth, not necessarily leaf growth, but root growth. So it'll give it a stronger tree, but I don't want to put any kind of fertilizer in there. So I don't want to burn the roots at all. And I want to give them plenty of time to grow. So this will be really good because the topsoil doesn't have that, so it'll mend that sandy soil that I have. And then the compost will continue to break down and then feed it naturally instead of some kind of chemical fertilizer or even an organic fertilizer. This time of year for trees is not a really good time to fertilize. And I mean, I grow a lot of bonsai and stuff, so I'm very aware about how to plant trees and roots and stuff and the life cycle of it. And so right now, these trees are they're going to sleep. Slowly but surely, just like when the leaves fall, they all go dormant. So that's what these trees are gonna do as well. So while they have green on them, I wanna keep them going as long as possible, but they don't have to stay that way, and I don't have to feed them and pump them up, because the last thing I want is to get false growth or new growth that happens and then a freeze comes and saps that energy out of the tree. This is an Alberta peach. I don't know what Alberta means, but bottom line is it can go really cold, and it's a grafted peach as well. So you have the graft mark here and you can see it. So I just want to plant it a little bit more shallow, probably like this pot is here. But see, this pot right here is so small. Oh, look, came right out. You got to get this thing out of the pot. It's got it. I mean, it's hurting, it's dying to get into the ground and grow. So pumped for this. I mean, I've been wanting to do this for a long time, have more fruit trees and stuff. And we attempted with the pear trees, but they just never really worked out well. But I have a whole lot of maintenance to do on these, I'm thinking, mostly because other than a trimming in the winter, harvesting, and then fertilizing, and then I'll have to do for the peach trees, I do have to do a couple treatments a year, but I can treat those at the same time I treat my other stuff for different borers and stuff like that. It's not a whole lot of crazy maintenance on these. So once they get growing, I mean, I'll have something always producing food. And we're gonna dub this the peach pie tree. That's what this one's gonna be for. The one up front's gonna be for canning and stuff, and this is gonna be the peach pie tree. And who doesn't love some good old peach pie? All right, there's my hole. half and half topsoil, half compost. And then we still want to get some of this outside soil in, the native soil, because you don't want it to hit it and be a shock. So this should be really good. This is what I did last year and it worked out well. My soil is just very acidic naturally, so this helps with all of that. And it gives it some food and then a little bit more moisture retention because it's hot right here and it's gonna get sun all day. All right, slip it out of the pot. Have a look at the roots. They're winding pretty bad. So what I'm gonna do is just, ooh, that's a tight root ball. Is I'm just gonna massage them a little bit so they're not continuously winding. I think this is gonna help a lot because a lot of times with trees that are grown in pots, that once the roots start winding, they continue to wind. So you want to tease them out gently, but I don't want to like shock the tree right now either. There you go. This was so root bound that when I watered it yesterday in the pot, I watered it for 7 minutes and it didn't even get into the bottom of the pot. All right, there we go. Get the bottom too. Press it down. Right, now this is all like the top surface of the previous one, and it's like a mat of roots. So don't necessarily want to put that in if I don't have to. We can backfill and do a couple layers maybe. So we'll put a little bit of the native soil around, and then we can top it off with some compost and stuff as well, and that'll give it a good entry point into this fabulous world that we've created. It doesn't take a lot. Believe it or not, the roots are sensitive. They're tough, but they're sensitive. So we just mix it up, throw it in. The biggest thing too is going to be watering. And the watering is going to be really important, but that's why I like to plant them this time of year, because we're going to get rains and stuff eventually. I mean, it hasn't rained here in like 2 weeks, but when we do start to get rains, this will help because it'll be cooler so the water won't evaporate as fast. And so that's going to give it a good base of watering. It'll alleviate the pressure for me. And we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, supposedly. I'll believe it when I see it though. The weatherman is always wrong, but that's okay. He's allowed to be wrong because he saves our lives sometimes. Now, when I was a kid, we had a big pecan tree in our backyard. It's probably 6 feet in diameter. It was huge. It was the only tree we had. And we would harvest pecans all fall long, if the squirrels didn't get them, that is. And I mean, it was a fond memory. We used to go out and throw footballs in the trees and try and get the pecans to fall and get them. And the mailman would come get them out of the backyard and we would make gifts and they would be snacks. It was just amazing. And I want to kind of bring that along, but instead of like nuts, because we have plenty of squirrels, I don't want to encourage them. I'm hoping that the fruit will do the same. So like the front, you know, we got a fair amount of peaches this year. We made about 10 jars of peaches. I canned them because I didn't know when to harvest them, and so they all came on at once and I couldn't eat them, so we canned them. But you know, like this one, it'd be fun to have it as a peach pie tree or something like that, you know, peach jellies, all these good things. And each year they will continue to produce and give us more and more food, and that's what we want because it's less work for us and it just makes it that much better for our family. And you know, in bad years, we can have extra peaches. Each year we'll get more. So then we'll always have this flush of nutrition coming into our house. Now that I'm out here looking at the tree, I can see in the wintertime, I'm gonna have to do some trimming. And so I'll probably trim, you know, like here, trim all these down a little bit and cause them to go to back bud, because last year I had problems with all of these coming up were gonna be too heavy. And you can see like right here, there's 2 buds. Those are gonna be flower buds. And where there's 1 bud, there's gonna be leaf buds, like right here. So we know that wherever there's two, there's gonna be a flower, which potentially could be a peach. So we don't want that weight to be all the way up here, and it'll just cause it to break and set this tree back a couple of years in growth. So we're gonna have to do some trimming, but we'll do that in the wintertime. Behind these blueberries here, here's our plum tree. I have no idea what this thing is gonna do, but same thing. And actually it looks like I may have gotten one with a little bit of a scale issue on it. Not quite sure, so I'm gonna have to look into that. So we might have to treat it a little bit, but this is gonna have to get a haircut too, because if it does get it, I mean, look at that. That ain't gonna hold nothing. And that's why I love growing trees. I love growing trees in pots like bonsai. I love growing, well, I've only successfully grown myself in my adult life one fruit tree, but I enjoy it. It's constant, it's good, and it's lower maintenance. So in my mind, it's well worth the investment and well worth the shot. Y'all come back now, you hear?